Once there was a man named David, who lived in a small village with his parents. They were poor, but his parents were kind, hard-working people who loved him deeply. Despite their struggles, they always taught David the importance of honesty, love, and family. But as David grew older, he became restless. He was tired of living in poverty and constantly dreamed of a life filled with wealth and luxury. One day, David encountered a mysterious stranger while walking in the nearby forest. The man, dressed in dark robes, spoke in a low, eerie voice and offered David a chance to fulfill his wildest dreams. "I can give you riches beyond your imagination," the stranger whispered. "Gold, jewels, land, everything will be yours. But there is a price." David's heart raced. He had always wanted wealth, but something about the stranger made him uneasy. "What's the price?" David asked, his voice trembling. "Your parents," the stranger said coldly. "Sacrifice them, and in return, I will grant you all the wealth you desire." David recoiled at the thought. His parents had always been good to him, sacrificing so much for his well-being. But the lure of wealth was too strong. He spent days torn between his love for his parents and his insatiable greed. Finally, his desire for riches won. Late one night, under the cover of darkness, David led his parents to the forest, telling them he had found a way to improve their lives. But instead of helping them, David, overcome with greed, handed them over to the stranger, who disappeared with them into the shadows, leaving David alone. At first, David was overwhelmed with guilt, but soon, gold and riches began to pour into his life. He became the wealthiest man in the land. He bought grand estates, wore the finest clothes, and surrounded himself with luxury. Everyone envied him, but they didn't know the price he had paid. Yet, no matter how rich he became, David could not escape the feeling of emptiness that haunted him. The faces of his parents tormented him in his dreams. He tried to drown his guilt in wealth, but it was never enough. No amount of gold could fill the void left by the betrayal of his own flesh and blood. As time passed, David's fortune began to crumble. His wealth slipped through his fingers like sand, and soon, he was left with nothing but the ghosts of his past. One cold, stormy night, he returned to the forest, hoping to find the stranger and reverse his decision. But the stranger was gone, leaving David alone to face the consequences of his actions. David realized too late that some sacrifices are too great, and no amount of wealth could ever replace the love and warmth of family. He spent the rest of his days as a broken man, wandering the village in rags, haunted by the memory